So before we hop into this game, this is going to be relevant to just general casting. People asking, where can we watch Cham versus Major from last night? All the VODs are available here on Twitch. If you guys want to watch them, all you got to do is subscribe to the channel. And if you don't want to subscribe to the channel, you're like, fuck that, I'm not paying $5 to these content creators. That's fine too, because things will end up on our YouTube channel. YouTube.com/BaseTradeTV. Reviewing there is totally free. And usually it just takes, I don't know, a couple of, usually a day at most to get those VODs up. This username is very quick on the draw, though, and he's not taking very long to get things going at all. But at any rate, welcome back to the TING Open. This is the losers match for the group, and sadly, somebody here is about to get eliminated, so they are absolutely playing for their lives. On the bottom right side is going to be the yellow Terran player, KeeN.
In the top left has the red Zerg. He is Soulkey.
Now, favoritism to me goes towards KeeN. I would be the first person to be on that balance train. 8 ultra armors are nice. Cyclones are broken, and this, that, and the other. And this actually has nothing to do with everyone talking about Soulkey's, I guess, recent performance. But KeeN just, again, looks so good recently. 3-2 versus SOS is one thing. That's TVP for the matchup. But we've been seeing him play countless Zergs in, like, the Corsair Cups and anything, basically, that we host on Europe.
KeeN has sucked Soulkey's power of winning small online tournaments and is going to beat him now with it.
For like that brief millisecond, I'm like, dog, I just finished building him up. You're gonna be like, KeeN sucks? Like, what the hell?
No.
That's like the biggest like scumbag caster move.
Yeah, he's pretty good, except he sucks.
It's pretty good, except for all these ways that you didn't list. Thank you, Sunny_0 for the 3-month resub. And I don't remember if we shouted them out, but Klondike7 as well.
Klondike Bar. Well, the, what was I gonna mention?
I never got those commercials. The 90s had the weirdest commercials, dude. Yeah, because that, of course, spawned the meme of, like, killing people for Klondike bars and whatever, but there's another one. Do you remember Barks Root Beer?
No.
Barks has bite.
Oh, yes, I do remember that, thanks. I was thinking about Mentos.
Fresh goes better. No, we did this in the CSL cast a while ago. I'm not doing it again. It
wasn't just the theme song, it was the actual commercial. The guy would like sit down on wet paint and then he would be like, oh, they're like, you know what? Like Mentos and white people like failing in infomercials should have got together and made a baby. You know, because then the white people at least would be like, oh
gosh, what was
white
it?
people, whenever there's like tons of Tupperware falling down on them.
Oh, like for the infomercials, yeah. It's like that Reddit, where did the soda go or something?
Yeah,
I'm trying to remember, was it
weird?
Was it Kimmy? I think it was Kimmy Schmidt. She like chipped her tooth. Yeah, Kimmy Schmidt, the woman chipped her tooth and like put the Mentos to cover it up and then had some soda.
Oh yeah.
So stupid.
So stupid.
Mentos, man. Weirdest stuff came from Mentos.
Yeah.
But anyways, KeeN got some pretty nice damage done with the Reaper. Killed a Link, killed a drone. Not a bad start. Whoops. There we go. 2 drones, excuse me, not Ling. My bad. I had to double check that because I thought I was wrong. But anyways, this gets killed. Not before throwing out 1 grenade. One last hurrah.
Hurrah! Hooray!
And it's gonna. You think this is the drones probably shouting as they get flown through the air? Arms going.
Yeah.
Whee!
I don't think they're saying we, you know, unless you really want to enjoy the ride before you die.
Let's talk about the path of these players, by the way, before this game kicks into high gear. So this is the losers match, and we just mentioned somebody's going to lose and get knocked out of the tournament. And that's a little bit sad, sure, if you're a fan of anybody here playing, but also their path is much different. Winning the finals of this group is their best option at this point, and winning the finals of the group only guarantees that you fight Super in a best of 5 later to be determined. And then that's how you'll advance to the round of 16. The winners of these groups will just straight up go to the round of 16, no problem, easy peasy, breezy, lemon squeezy. But unfortunately, KeeN and Soulkey have quite the road ahead, even if they do well here in this losers match.
Yeah. Once again, I would give KeeN a better chance against Super, but first I think give him a chance versus the loser of Patience versus SOS, which is still up in the air. Yeah. So this drop did not go for harassment. It's actually trying to kill a base. Lings, though, I mean, that's plentiful enough. I mean, I guess this could have been reacted to just a tiniest bit, like an underreaction. Then the Widowmine gets the hit, then the Marines get on top of the Queen, and that's like a really good scenario, but doesn't really get that. Might distract the tiniest bit for this Liberator, but honestly, like, Liberators are totally expected on that natural, and there's already a Spore Crawler.
Yeah, so this won't be too problematic. There's still a little bit of wiggle room, but this Ravager reveal I think is a little bit more scary for KeeN than anything else. Gonna walk in here with the Marines, and if they can kill these Queens, that'll be nice, even if they don't get the hatchery.
Yeah. Yeah, I really don't think that... I mean, that should never get a hatchery, but it got it pretty low.
Never say never, Zombie Crab.
Yeah. The Liberator not going to do much at all.
Well,
okay.
The Ravagers are just amazing.
Is this real? Okay, anyway.
Between Solar and Soulkey, man, these two couldn't hit
Right?
the broadside of a bar.
What is the narrow side of a barn?
The front part, when you're facing out with the door.
But it's still not that narrow. I mean, like, it's still a pretty big target.
It's way longer than it is wide. That's the broadside.
Name of your sex tape?
I mean, so I've got a long pencil dick. So what? Some women are into that, man. You ever heard of noodle fetishes? No, okay, I'm not.
Jesus Christ, no. I've never heard of that.
Snipback finishing up here in moments time for KeeN. And just for the record, if that's a real thing, I was 100% making that up on the spot, so I don't want to be held accountable for that, like, at all.
I mean, I bet it's a real fetish, but just the name, you've finally given them
It's
a
all
name for it.
Pastafarians too. They're just like,
Oh, Jesus. Oh my God.
It's like Lady and the Hound. You want to go Lady and the Hound on this one? It's called.
do they like
It's a
do like
threesome.
shelled pasta? Do they like shell noodles or just like long
Hey man,
ones?
everyone's unique.
Yeah, totally.
I focuses
So-
down the live creep tumors. I actually like that quite a bit.
Yeah, that's really obnoxious. Soulkey, I mean, there's multiple reasons as to why Zergs are taking the base we just saw instead of the one that Soulkey's actually taken. One of those reasons includes the fact that creep spread would start to the left before it got over to the right. So it might be going down the middle path here, but if KeeN ever attacks the 4th base, he has that ledge to abuse near the Zelnaga, and he has no creep spread to worry about. This isn't quite worrying. There's enough Marines. They don't have combat shields though, so maybe not.
But Stim's still pretty good. A lot of the roaches in the front line getting thinned out. That tank gets some
definitely
shots, and it looks like he will definitely push this back. Now, 1-1 is really nice, and combat shields aside for a moment, the question sort of becomes now, can Soulkey do much here without without fungal growths? I mean, you're playing with Roach Ravager, and that's nice brute force, but as these lings come in, there's not banelings. Picks up even and just walks away from this fight. Back to the tanks, not a problem.
Yeah. Yes, this combat shield's still not done. Soulkey going for Tunneling Claws. Very interesting mix-up here. KeeN scans the 4th base, and he'll probably try and send a drop out there sooner or later, because he is the one being pressured. He can't really bring his entire army.
The second he indicates that Tunneling Claws is in play, a turret's going to go down and completely just nullify it, though. That's the problem. It's got a really nice visual indicator about when that's in play. But a lot of the Marines get picked off, so not great here for KeeN as far as his bio goes, but the tank's still holding strong, just chipping away at everything they get their hands on. I like Burrow, if for no other reason than just to heal up some of these almost dead roaches, but he's not taking advantage of it. There we go.
Oh, this is suspicious.
Yeah,
That's suspicious.
might lose like 1 or 2 Marines. We should be able to just pick up and get out of here pretty quick.
Yeah.
Oh.
Actually, this is a good chunk of them.
Yeah, Medevac also
Drop.
abandoned ship or just runs in. I don't know what this was, but Marines got up here in the top right, so doing a bit of damage. Roach is going to get on top of the tanks, though. Not being able to pick these up in time. One gets saved, one goes down. Still 3rd tank exposed down to the south. But Tunneling Claws for Soulkey might just be the trick he was looking for.
Yeah, I think this has done it. Most of the tanks are now down. The second one does pop out, but not a lot of Marines to help them. Soulkey, he could make a mistake, though. He could just, for instance, not have high ground vision or just simply be in range of the tanks in general. He kills the 3rd base SCVs, but that still puts KeeN in an okay amount with 44. He's got to be careful not to lose the rest of his army.
Yeah, so many SCVs went down. 25, not a good number to be sitting with, but if at the end of the day KeeN's able to counter, then you're like, okay, cool. The worker count irrelevant because they won the game. But that's not the case. There's still such a big army supply for Soulkey.
Yeah. It's so inefficient when it goes up against tanks like all, squished together though, and that's what a big reason why Soulkey doesn't have that like 30 army supply lead still. The Tunneling Claws did their job for sure by getting rid of at least the 2 tanks and then a freebie 3rd game rallied in, but now it's known, and the tanks will be extra on guard on those medevacs. And this turret's coming up now.
quite a few people got upset about the noodle fetish comment. I'm just thinking, thou
Defensive
doth
much?
protest too much. You know what I'm saying? Roaches are still going to be a problem, but at least with turrets down, there's going to be some detection.
What is the opposite of a noodle?
Uh,
Okay. Don't answer that.
I was gonna say this could go a couple different directions, so maybe we should keep that for another time. But
Yeah.
this might catch a little bit off guard. There's no detection down here, which
Yeah, it's a bit awkward.
yeah, a bit surprising. I think he was just hoping to get the wall off, then he wouldn't have to worry about building that random turret for no good reason. But Scan goes down to be able to pick off a couple of these roaches. Unfortunately, they do heal really quickly and move fairly fast, so caught out of position. Up here to the north, Turret's going to see this coming, but the bio's not where it needs to be to respond to this. Tank's get a couple of nice shots, and the roaches are going to slip right into that natural.
Just slip right in there.
Slide in just like some DMs.
Fourth base and fifth base for replanted for Soulkey, and he's on his way to a hive, so he's really looking quite good despite not being able to end the game when he wanted. KeeN has been losing SCVs over time, so he went from 45 to 35, which is a lot worse, really. And the one thing he's going for him is that army supply with upgrades, and that's a pretty big thing. If he attacks, he probably won't have an upgrade lead with +2 finishing up for Soulkey, but he'll have a very good army. It's just like, can he ever feel comfortable attacking with the idea of tunneling claws being, you know, anywhere at any time?
I mean, I really like the idea of tunneling claws, and if that was just simply designed to get him to this point where he gets on hive a lot more comfortably, then even more kudos to him. But Hatchery up here at the top is going to go down, picks up those Marines, holds on to this, and this is some great free shots for those tanks. Well, this is awkward.
That push. Yeah, okay, so, you know, being countered by 3 roaches is not the same as having 20, like, sort of base trades. So KeeN should be able to do something here. Bring the tanks over. Okay, maybe the infestors scared him too much, actually.
I really love this small thing of the roach following the army. It's like the world's lamest revelation, but as we see, it gets some pretty good vision, and it's seen every movement out of his opponent. Ravagers finish up, one gets caught on the front lines, rest of them coming out to that front lines because Corsair is moving back to stop that drop, and he does just that. Fungal growths go down, corrosive bios hit that combo, but it's killing bio, not tanks, so we'll see how this turns out. KeeN can still back away from this.
Yeah, he still has reinforcements, and he still has a decent army supply, but those infestors definitely did their job. +3's with the finish for KeeN, so I guess he will have an upgrade for the next attack. But he's still on 35 SCVs. Even if he lifted his main command center, which is entirely mined out, it wouldn't be the best mining in the world, and he always has the harassment to worry about. Kills one base, Soulkey just expands to the other, still has a 4th mining happily. You gotta give this game to Soulkey.
Well, tank pick up, just gonna float around. Up here to the north, this drop, awkward, I guess, to kind of scatter that mineral line for a moment. Ultra's Cavern on the way. This is that timing now for KeeN to really shine if he wants a chance, because there's no way he comes to this late game without good mining and takes on Ultras. There's no way he'll even be able to afford to produce ghosts, much less anything else. He's just not taking this fight so well. Tanks are in the air, not on the ground. Trades out with some of the lings, but doesn't get any of the meaty, hardy units like the infestors.
Oh my god, run. Oh my god, burst. Okay, burst not run. Oh, can I die?
It's where you need those high-capacity fuel tanks.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can't even say it. I can't even say it.
Oh, okay. Well, the tanks are still not in a good position. Coming from the left side, coming from the top side. I think this is it for KeeN.
I do believe so. Those tanks finding a really hard time to engage, but even if he does, like, let's say these 2 tanks do miracles and they kill all these Ravagers, Ultras are on deck, Chitinous Plating's on the way. There's just no way for poor KeeN. Even though he trades out well, it's still going to be tough taking on those big behemoths of monsters.
Yeah, KeeN is really, really all in with this. And it's almost worked. If the Ultras were just a little bit later, I think that this would work. Because, okay, they may not have plating, which is usually the most important thing, but there's just not a lot left for KeeN. They're still going to tank a couple of shots here and there.
First up, if KeeN can actually make this work, that's going to be really cool. This timing is still, he's got like, what, 10 seconds before those are unkillable, quote unquote. But
Yeah.
I need to give a boisterous laugh to Nikki B. Red in chat. Says Scarlet, wonder if they give the Ultra. They've been pretty resistant to nerf them in general. Good sir, do you not realize Zerk haven't had any nerfs since the beta? Only buffs?
Yeah, they haven't had nerfs since Heart of the Storm.
They did technically nerf the larva back down to normal and what it used to be after buffing it, but Hesitant to nerf Zerg. That's a good one. Ah, my dear lad, you've tickled my funny bone.
Is it skinny or?
It's long and skinny, just like my noodly penis.
That's just too much information.
Yeah, no, but
Okay, KeeN, I guess, did a photo over his third base, and he's still trying to make this work, but it's not gonna work.
it's gonna come one of the ultras fine. That should be nice. And his kiting hasn't been that bad. And I guess we do need to talk about the fact Soulkey doesn't really have proper support for these ultras. He is just throwing them out there on the front line. The infestors have got no fungal growth, not close enough to hit anything that matters, and he's just being kited down. And he's letting himself get kited down, but in doing so does kill the transfer, kills the mules, kills the economy, and KeeN, no matter how well and cost effectively he trades out, there's mining going on for Soulkey, and he doesn't really have any mining going on himself.
Nope. But he's not giving up. He's like, I'm supposed to be winning this. I took Soulkey's power.
Yeah. Chaotic Ranger in chat, just to correct the statement. Livy B has cast with us in the past, and she actually cast Health to Boot Time with us. It's great. A lot of fun working with her. Caitlyn has never cast anything ever, though, so just to clarify.
Yeah. Just to be clear.
GG gets called, and
GG.
Soulkey, ladies and gentlemen, will take the first game. Now, I am not going to lie, I was being a little extra shitty with that, laughing and just having some fun. Because Zerg is obviously in a tough place right now when it comes to one matchup, perhaps not the other. But that was a nice game for Soulkey. Once he started to run away with it, I was really worried that he might over-dedicate, let it kind of slip away, but no, well handled, well done. We're going to go to game number 2 pretty quick, though. What's the map, so I can load this up?
Ruins of Endion.
All right. And of course, after this game, we'll go off to a commercial break, guys. So that's where you can schedule in your bathrooms, your snacks, whatever you got to do. So we just get everyone here into the lobby.
Yeah.
Boom.
Okie dokie. I assume they're gonna go be ready.
All right. Yep. Oh, here we go. We already have a message complaining about the topics in our inbox. Fantastic. Talk to you guys in a sec. Oh, why is the intro not playing? It's a black screen. That's wonderful. Okay, cool. Well, we'll just hop to the regular load screen, I guess. Technical problems. Hype.
Okie dokie.
As long as the stream itself doesn't straight up break, I don't really mind. But I'm trying to find that screenshot from Jesse. Here we go. This is our official Ting representative, guys. All right. If you have complaints about the stream, then please just tune out. That's all I can really say. Really don't mind. And neither do our sponsors, and complaining to them will do nothing. So sending me a message on our BaseTradeTV inbox, threatening to message the sponsors, all I can really say is good luck. Good luck, have fun with that. Yeah, what is it? What? He said like one person in the lobby this whole tournament.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Unless maybe he's just saying he misses his co-caster. I don't know. Whatever. Get it together, Naruto. Take TV, whatever. Game number 2 here for the Ting Open. Ladies and gentlemen, bttv.ting.com is the website to go to check out more about Ting. They're a U.S. mobile phone service. Please do give them a looky-loo if you are from the United States. Spawning in the bottom right side, he's down 1 point in the losers match. It's going to be the Elitarum player, KeeN.
In the bottom left, as the red Zerg, he is Soulkey.
You should have said something, man.
Yeah, I didn't know.
This is my reply.
Whatever, man. Speed.
Can casters keep chat clear? Jesus.
Clear Jesus.
Because me and Naruto are usually the ones spamming poops, so I'm very clearly not being serious right now, guys. Anyways, that first game, though, looked good. I liked it. It wasn't like Soulkey got away with too much, and let's be honest, by the time Ultras and any attempt at actual balance complaint may have come into play, KeeN was already really far behind.
Yeah. I just took a little bit too much damage from the Roach all in there. You know, there's a couple of things he'd done better, and then maybe it would have snowballed in the opposite direction, but Soulkey had a good plan, a really cool one, actually, and that gives me a little more faith, because honestly, when I bet, and I did bet on this, no bias, I really thought that KeeN might even 3-0 Soulkey.
Who'd you oh, okay. I was going to say, who'd you slap the Pertus on, but that explains it right there.
Yeah. Just because, he just had a really poor showing versus Patience, and he just hasn't been looking so hot in general, but that gave me a little more faith that maybe it's going to be a 3-2 instead.
I mean, I'm liking it for KeeN. Again, just really emphasizing for a moment that he's done well on foreign servers at terrible time zones. Ideally, this should be his best case scenario. We'll rate that first game off as a 1 game, but we'll see how he looks coming to game 2 to really determine how he's looking in the matchup. Because Runes of Endion has changed a lot. Like, the way this map first played out versus how it plays out nowadays, it's almost like a completely different map.
Oh yeah, when it first came out along with Core Hall, or whatever it was called, everyone was just like early pooling. They were like, rocks! Gotta beat those rocks! Gotta attack with the rocks broken down. Rocks! But now it's more just like, oh, rocks, let me go ahead and expand all over the place. And macro. But this I was oohing and ahhing because we had a very early evolution chamber. And while not like a ton of queens, enough that you can fit, 4 into an overlord and send it right over. So this is very reminiscent of Arena.
Yeah, grenade not getting a lot done. Unfortunately, this Reaper looks like it's kind of destined to die. Rest in pepperonis, buddy. The Lings ate that grenade just for you. Now, of course, there's a lot more going on. This was a strategy used a lot more on Arena and a lot more to do with queens. And here we go, the queen's going to be joining in shortly. Really, truthfully, even to this day, amongst the Koreans, Polt is the only one to make this defense look easy. And that's because he would always know it was coming. But, no Widow Mine on the cliff. It's in the medevac. It's flying out. And unfortunately, it's going to see 4 overlords. And, well...
that's awkward. It wants to go back. It wants to unload the Widow Mine so it gets at least one of those overlords pretty low, but
it needs
not much else to snipe it. Like, there's only 2 Marines. Okay, well, once he unloads these Marines, it's not going to be able to do anything. Oh, Jesus.
There is a tank to maneuver around, truthfully. Might be able to make this work, but it's going to be tough. Overlords start unloading. Marines are trying to focus fire a bit. Widow Mine goes off, but it's a bit late now because everything's been unloaded already, but looks like this is at the cost of SCVs, of course, being dealt with. Tank gonna live through this. Marine's gonna live through this. Bunker even finishes up in case this got super bad. There is a follow-up attack trying to get through these rocks, but I mean, Soulkey has utterly failed this attack.
Yeah, that went a lot worse than I thought it was.
I mean, there's a 3rd base on location. The rocks don't even go down. 13, was it something workers die? No, 9, excuse me. This is totally manageable.
Yeah, it absolutely is. I mean, when you think about it, the real, like, killer of this attack is usually the flood of Lings into the natural where you've pulled your SCVs to, or they get into the main base and help out your overlord drops. With the rocks being broken down, that really stalled that out. And I don't know if the second attack's gonna do much better. I mean, I guess he can morph Banelings after he drops them.
Well, so this is what I'm worried about. The overlords did take a lot of damage from that initial attack. You gotta consider 2 of these are almost easily popped off should they get in range of anything. Yeah, Marines or Widow Mines or whatnot, but gotta be careful to push out. Unloads out here instead. Banelings are gonna morph in. He'll probably pick these up and drop those in the main. I'm wondering if he'll try and actually Bane Rain the Banelings on account of the fact that they are a bit slower than the actual overlords, considering everything's off creep. But again, the overlord he puts it into is so freaking low, Zombie Grub.
Oh, snipe it, Viking, please.
Now,
Oh,
the
my
Viking
God.
will still kill about 8 Lings, which isn't bad. That Widow Mine might get some splash damage. Viking is going to pick off the Overlord with the Banelings. 4 of them go down, and that's not going to work out. One of the tanks may be in a bit of danger, but half the attack before it even begins. GG. KeeN ties up the Series 1-1 in an excellent defense against a strategy that is not so crazy out of Soulkey. That is something we've seen win games. So, nicely done. Very nicely done. We're going to... Oh... Soulkey apparently spent -7 hours supply watch, by the way, guys. It's kind of impressive. Damn. Those victory screen bugs. Fantastic. Anyways, we are going to go to a small break, so don't go anywhere, folks. We'll see you in 2 minutes. Also, there's no music for the ads because things are broken, so... Alright, we're back and loading into Invader incredibly slowly, but loading in nonetheless. Things have tied up 1-1 here in the losers match. Of course, if you guys have not, or if you've just tuned in recently, we still have the winners match to go through, and then the grand finals of the group. Spawning in the upper right side of Invader is going to be the blue Zerg player. none other than Soulkey.
In the bottom left as the Red Terran, he is KeeN.
All right, so KeeN had a pretty good defense against a really cheesy strategy. I mean, it was cheesy at that too. If Soulkey does something weird again, I'd be surprised. Because I really don't think Soulkey's the type of player who needs to rely on this early game shenanigans. I think he was just really trying to take advantage of what the map was.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, that does win maps, you know, maybe even easily if they defend poorly against it. But it also can look very, very silly if they know how to defend against it. And especially on that map, I think the rocks actually being broken down with, you know, how quick the attack happens might not always happen. That really probably screwed Soulkey up. But yeah, that first game's good indication doesn't need to rely on super early all-ins. I think Invader in these spawns, he could rely on a mid-game Roach all-in again. I don't know about Ton and Claws, but hey, even that would probably do good work once more.
Yeah, it's... Again, I don't want to read too much into it. It's like a once-off thing. Invader, though, just kind of having scars, because last time we were here, it was kind of crazy, but different matchup, different players.
Yeah.
I'm imagining for KeeN, though, this is a map where we've just all too many times seen that Hellbat push, and I'm wondering if he'd be willing to bust that out versus Soulkey. Because I know it's in his repertoire, but again, Soulkey's a better than your average Zerg player. Despite how you guys may feel about his results, Soulkey, like, at his worst, is still better than most Zerg players you're going to see on average.
Sure.
At least
Especially
at this matchup. At this matchup.
Well, I don't know. KeeN could definitely bust it out. I mean, he's certainly used it in the past, but it is something that is, you know, almost equivalent to like a Bane bust. Like, you do it once every while, hope that it surprises them, but sometimes it just gets denied as easily as we saw Soulkey's all-in denied. A bit annoying for that Reaper. Good build cancel. Good job, drone.
Assuming it cancels. There we go. Lest you wanted that early game Spore Crawler for the Ghost Rush cloak detection that is so commonly used in this matchup.
Hey man, that could be a thing in 10 years. Mark this video down. In 10 years, oh my god, we'd be so old in 10 years. Let's not talk about that.
I don't think we'd be that old.
Oh, you would. Just kidding.
Oh.
I'd be 35, and I'd be like having like, you know, that like midway to 40.
Threesomes? Oh, sorry. Go on.
Why do I gotta wait till I'm 35 to have that? Hey, anyway. But you would be like closing in on 40, and you'd be having that like 40 tear that everyone has.
Yeah, but guys get better with age and all that, right? So.
Actually, I mean, sometimes, yeah.
George Clooney, man, that guy only gets handsomer every day. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't know. You know the mom or the aunt in the Civil War movie?
Yes, Aunt May was smoking, dude. I was
She's
so jelly.
52 or something like that.
I know. I went to IMDb the second the movie was done, dude.
So, I treat myself nice.
Treat yourself. Alright, so the links get cleaned up. The Hellions, could have been used a little bit more efficiently, I suppose. Not the end of the world. Being sort of battered up like this, though, and of course, scouting no armory, Soulkey knows that there's not that all-in coming his way. And even if it was, and these Hellions were this health, it wouldn't be a problem to deal with.
Batter is so, like, there's so many uses for it, too. Battered up like battery. Battered up like you have batter on yourself.
Did you see the guy who actually
And
batter. He battered water and deep fried it?
No. But I'm not surprised. I mean, they batter ice cream and fry it.
Well, it was like one of those those balls that like when you put in water it grows like 5 times its size or whatever because it soaks up all the water and it's like clear and see-through.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm talking about? I'm sure you must have seen one of these.
I mean, maybe, but I don't remember it.
Oh, anyways, it was kind of crazy because yeah, at any moment it could have just like burst out and all the water flooded out and all this. I don't know. It's kind of crazy that he was able to actually do it.
Ugh. Oh my god! If the water had burst out, oh, that would have been duck and cover.
Yeah, pretty much. Viking
Okay.
hits towards the main. This isn't going to get too much, but hopefully maybe he'll get an eye on that spire if he decides to fly on through. Decides to fly away
Right.
instead. Of course, for him, seeing a spire this early is not that alarming. This isn't like versus Protoss. You're going to have Marines. You're going to have anti-air. But knowing that your opponent's going for mutants, knowing that your opponent's going for banelings, is definitely a good mindset to know, like, okay, a couple what mines here and there. More marine production, less greed. Things to just note in general. But, of course, for KeeN, third CC's coming as part of the wall. I actually don't know if that'll be a full wall, because we all know CCs are, whatever reason, just the worst buildings to wall with.
They really are. Yeah, it's interesting to see Soulkey go for this build on this map in particular. King Sejong, I almost like, from back in the day, expected.
Rip.
Hellions didn't drop. That sucks. Or Dusk Towers, that's a very long, big map with some decent airspace. Mutas, they'll be able to get into the main base and, their Glaive Worm will hit everything because that main base is so damn small. But they won't have too much of a retreat path through the natural, which limits them to, instead of like 3 base potential harassment, only 2, sometimes only 1, depending on how they defend the third here, as KeeN goes out and takes it. So I don't know. But I do like the idea of all-inning with this.
Ooh, almost gets the Widowman in.
People don't expect Vita Bling Bling nowadays most of the time. They certainly don't expect 20, 30 banelings with it. They're either transferring over into roaches or they're playing a super long macro game. But Soulkey is getting prepped to roll in here.
Yes, and if you'd been able to snap off combo shields, that would have made the follow-up push so much more devastating. That is a hell of a lot of banelings after all. But combo shield's going to get complete. Marine's ready to go. Third base is a little bit of defense around it, but he's seen the banelings out with these transferred SCVs. Oh, no. Oh, stop. Stop the transfer.
Oh, God.
All right, he'll hold this mineral line. Nope, take that back. Banelings roll to kill the Marines. Now KeeN left with a small handful of units, and they're all right here. The wall's down.
Oops.
The command center's floating back over. The mutas won't kill that anytime soon, so they go for a medevac snipe instead. Not a bad choice. But Marines have got to find a way to hold on to this. There's more banelings coming down out of this. Okay, sure, 6 or so are going to be used on a wall, but the wall's not down anymore. What am I looking for that miracle hit? Not quite going to get it. He needs this miracle hit, too.
Oh, my God.
And he gets a pretty good one, but it's not going to be good enough. KeeN now spreading what little few Marines he has left. Production trying to hold on to this, but he doesn't have much money either. All of his buildings are in overdrive, and it might still not be enough.
Yeah. If he
Although-
didn't take such a bad split, I think he actually would be fine. Oh, no, apparently he still is fine.
Yeah.
I was going to say, Soulkey, this is all in, obviously. He doesn't have upgrades. He didn't have that high of a drone count. And the larva could have been a really big problem. Like, he is actually starting to bank a bit because his larva hasn't popped yet. So continual attacks, I don't think are as effective as they were in Heart of the Swarm. And your defense, if it goes poorly enough, might not be fast enough either.
1-1 finished up now, too, and that overseer getting picked off makes it a little bit more precarious for the potential Widow Mines. But this drop, not focus firing down the banelings. Don't think he realized he was going to get caught by this. Does take a pretty good trade. Again, that's that 1-1 really ringing in strong.
Oh, split. Oh, Jesus. He has so few Marines that any time the Banelings get more than 2, it is so good for Soulkey. But still holding on, has that third base on location, is only at 40 SCVs, which really isn't that bad, especially once he gets this saturated and muling.
More mutas are a bit surprising to me, but I guess they're the one thing that hasn't really been cleaned up through these attacks.
They've lost a few of their numbers, 5, but it was probably more that they didn't start out very high. He did put all of his gas into Banelings. But the question is, did it do enough damage to warrant a macro game? Like, can Soulkey get up to a good drone count? Okay, now he's at a good drone count. Can his upgrades be good enough, not to just die to KeeN? As KeeN, I think, finished up his armory, so he should start 2-2 soon.
Oh, yeah, Banelings can be pretty awesome. They don't... as long as they don't get focus fired down, you're not fighting off creep, you can usually take a pretty decent trade with them, but there's not that many Banelings, so that's where I get worried about this game. Because Soulkey might have a somewhat decent army, but it's down in supply very significantly, and the mutas... this is like over half his supply down here.
Yeah,
KeeN's push is going to have to bring those mutas home, and even then, they might not be able to help.
Even siping a couple of these medevacs as they group up here would be quite effective. Mutas coming in with Lings will actually add a ton of damage too, but unfortunately they could also be focus fired, which would be worth it for KeeN. Scans and then realizes maybe I should not have done this. He's going to have to pick up and try and leave, or just take the hits.
Banelings, yeah.
Okay, that wasn't supposed to happen. I mean, he would have lost like one medevac maybe, but that's would have been better.
Sure, it's not the popular opinion, but I don't think you should have done that.
2 medevacs. Would have mine? Oh, it's not gonna hit. But
Well,
there's enough
it
reinforcements.
does though. The second would have mine kills out the banelings, so now Soulkey has to pull back once again.
Yeah. Soulkey is managing to catch up on upgrades a little bit just because KeeN started his 2-2 a little late, but that's actually not the problem right now. The problem is Soulkey just not having a good enough army. He doesn't have that overwhelming number usually fine with Vita Bling Bling, and is starting to lose out on his creep too. Banelings finish up, but now the KeeN can actually split. He has a bit of a concave. There you go. Yeah, Mutas can't take this on. 60 Mutas can actually take on quite a few Marines, especially when they're clumped up, but... Or, actually, when they're taken apart like this, rather.
The split was so nice. The medevacs are funny because they are keeping a lot of these Marines alive. Finally, this does get cleaned up. So the question here for KeeN is, like, are there enough medevacs left alive, despite the fact they're all low and dangerously close to death? Like, at what point does he consider making Liberators, right? Because I just keep seeing these clumped up Mutas, and, like, God knows Thors are no longer a thing. Widowmines maybe get those hits, but Liberators are for certain going to deal damage.
Why would you choose that medevac to load up in?
Of all the medevacs!
Jesus, okay, well, I definitely agree. Like, you stop the Mutas from being able to bulk up like that, they don't snipe Marines off to the left and then right. They don't snipe medevacs or Widowmines, and that's very important. If they try and snipe, they die. Well, even if they're spread out while moving into the army, I mean, that's already, like, you know, not ideal, and they'll still get splashed to death with Liberators.
God, these medevacs are so stupid. I don't know what KeeN's doing with them. But, you know, even if it's not for anti-air purposes, just anti-ground, it forces different types of priorities in these engagements, and the Mutas would have to focus them down, but KeeN bleeding out more and more supply. Drop to the north. I guess there isn't a queen here.
Queen.
Although she might
Come
just
on, Queen.
tickle the
She's gonna get
medevac.
it.
Oh
He's
my,
actually not even unloading yet.
oh my god. KeeN is falling apart to this.
Oh, my tubes. He really is. It's actually not just like falling apart in this game, but maybe that first game kind of I don't know, like put him a little bit off. He didn't expect to lose Soulkey like that.
CC's gonna go down. This is where this game probably just taps out. I don't know, man. This is. He looked like he really should have been able to bring this back, especially with the momentum he had started swinging, but a couple of bad engagements really got out of hand, and now Soulkey's got a lot of Mutas that even Marines are struggling to deal with.
Yeah, Glaber wasn't so bad when there's enough Mutas.
GG. Alright, Soulkey takes a 2-1 lead now in the series. We'll get to the next game. What's the map? So I can load the intro.
Frozen.
Alright, I'm not even going to give this guy a name comment here, but someone in the chat saying like in 10 years back in that comment, I hope these guys have real jobs. Here's the thing about real jobs, guys. I actually love streaming. I would love to be doing this in 10 years, and I would hope that we're even bigger and better than we are now, but as far as I think what you meant to say is traditional jobs, they're not even that much better. I could work at, like, I don't know, a fucking booking company or McDonald's or something, and I would not have the travel that we get doing this. We wouldn't have the fans and the friends that we've met. Like, the free time, not having to wear pants when I work every day. Like, what the why would I want a traditional job? None of that sounds appealing.
What's funny about a comment like that is that the same type of person who would say that being an artist isn't a real job, which would be my backup job. And they probably would also say that, like, minimum wage jobs aren't a real one either. Like, basically, that person's just a dick.
That person just should shut up, vote for Trump, and continue ruining the world, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, yeah. So I continue ruining the world by depending on your tax dollars.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, press the tempo when everyone's ready. Let's hop into it. Countdown's begun. The musical stylings of MC. We'll see you guys in a sec. All right, getting into game number 4. He's up. Oh, excuse me. He's scores it the wrong way. There we go. He's down and possibly on the outs. He's really got to bring it back here. He did give us an ace match earlier today. Maybe we'll see it again. But he's on his last life. In the bottom right side of Frozen Temple, the yellow Terran player KeeN.
The top left has the red Zerg. He is Soulkey. That last game was not very good. Yeah, there's that surprise factor of just, you know, who does that Baneling on Lin anymore? But it went beyond that. Like, he actually dealt with it okay-ish. It was the follow-up where things were just question marks and obviously, like, you know, just really getting tunnel visioned, because Liberators would have been really good.
Yeah. it's. I mean, there was the question of using them for the mutas, right? Maybe you get a couple set up for the banelings, but the thing that bothered me about it is like I could totally understand the reasoning of I need more medevac so I can at least drop or heal. Sure. But when he was sitting on like 4, granted a lot of them almost dead, 5 and 6 were on the way, and I'm like, you don't have enough bio to heal with the like there's not enough bio for these medevacs to heal. So at that point Liberties just make more sense anyways.
Yeah. And he definitely got to a medevac count that wasn't even risky. You know, 4 can be risky. That is the usual stopping point, though, if you're going to go into Liberators, like, you know, in TVP or for instance. But he was up at like 6 or 7 at one point. Definitely had room to make Liberators, and even had a bit of cushion in the bank, you know. Definitely wasn't at a loss for gas, just had to wait for minerals. So I really think it was a problem of tunnel vision, not that he thought, you know, very clearly, like, would Liberators be good in this situation? And he chose no. Like, I can't imagine that happened. We'll see what happens on Frozen Temple, where maybe he won't be nearly as caught off guard by Soulkey's Muta Baneling choice.
I mean, it'd be very interesting to see if he goes for it again. Not that Muta Baneling is an unheard of strategy. It's just, I don't know, we see so much more focus on Ravager, Infester, just hell, Banelings and Zergling all-ins, more so than even Baneling, Zerglings, and Mutas. It's just, I don't know. It's the road less traveled nowadays from what used to be the only build you could go for every single time.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Well, Soulkey has shown a variety of all-ins here. I mean, you know, that the Tunneling Claws was an all-in despite being on 3, almost 4 bases. The Baneling all-in, you didn't have any upgrades, you really didn't do damage. We saw the very obvious all-in with the Overlord drops. It's a big variety, and I could certainly see him using Frozen Temple for another Roach Ravager mid-game attack, really. As KeeN did an okay job against it, but not great.
So, I've been asked in chat if I've ever had a real job after, I guess, our recent discussion. And actually, interestingly enough, I've worked a variety of jobs. In high school, well, of course, I did when I was young. I did the paperboy route, but that doesn't really count as a job, in my opinion. I feel like that's almost a responsibility your parents try and force on you because they're like, we want you to learn how to have a job. But I was a banquet server in high school. I worked in a factory for a year assembling office furniture. That was probably the worst thing I've ever had, by the way. Oh my god, the amount of paint thinner I inhaled. Worked at an environmental company for a whole summer and security guarded for like 2 years after that. And I can say without a doubt in my mind, well, those are not the most prestigious jobs of all time. This has definitely been my most favorite.
Yeah. I worked on a farm, and that was actually pretty cool.
Hey, y'all.
Hey,
oh, and I
y'all.
totally forgot. I worked 2 summers at a go-kart track. That was, I take that back, actually. StarCraft's awesome. Working at the go-kart track was my favorite job of all time. Because I think 6 out of the 8-hour shifts would just be literally driving the go-karts around, either policing everyone else or testing out to see if they've been fixed. Because your shifts either involved safety and monitoring the go-kart track or working with a mechanic to repair the broken go-karts. And you'd always have to actually test drive them, and it was so awesome.
That actually sounds really fun. I liked working at the farm a lot, but there is some really dumb just safety concerns that they didn't care about the workers for.
I am not surprised.
Yeah.
That was a very interesting fact I just learned. The shadow of the Overseer turning into the Overlord, the chunks that come off of him are heavily pixelated in the shadow. Those are all squares.
You must be losers. Okay.
Actually,
so scouting, Spire, very important.
Yes.
The lack of a third base in itself was kind of probably a question mark for KeeN.
No, this drop was a really good drop. Scouting eyes on this. Now, does KeeN read this as the last game all over again? Does he say, great, I'm going to have to deal with this again, roll his eyes, finish up that 3rd CC and just hope for the best? Maybe. But I think this time around, he comes into it with the knowledge of what's coming, what he just saw. And for example, we talked about the Liberators pretty heavily. Let's address that again. I imagine we'll probably see 1 or 2 here. But it is and was pretty good control out of KeeN for the most part. So I wouldn't be surprised if he chose to skip over that, focus more on Marines and Widow Mines once again. I do think, though, with this tank drop, with the Marines on the front lines, he's going to have to get something done or go home. And looks like going home is the better option for him. And, by the way, Liberators, boom.
Yeah, now he remembers it's a good unit.
You don't need... like so this is where Liberators become like a question about, like, are they too good versus not good enough? Because a couple Liberators, if split correctly against and they have no Marine support, can be picked off by mutas. But that rarely happens, and usually mutas get kited into clumping, and that splash damage just builds up way too quick.
Well, my question for this is, actually, no, it's already answered. Never mind. I was going to say, is he all-inning? But upgrades are actually all the way. He's not getting, like, a ton of Banelings right off the bat to try and roll in. And this is actually going to be a Mutiling Blink game. I guess with that in mind, now it's going to be, like, real macro, is how quickly Soulkey's going to try and get to Ultras.
Real macro, like a real job?
Try. Yeah, like a real job, exactly.
Actually, back on that topic, that's how I paid for my first BlizzCon, that go-kart track. That whole summer, I specifically worked there so I could fly to California for the first time ever. That was like
Cool.
2006 or something, like, or 9? No, 2009. It was 2009. That was my very first BlizzCon.
Cool. Cool story.
I remember talking about this before too. I kind of regret not being more into esports back then. I think I would have enjoyed it far more because I just, for that BlizzCon was like a WoW meetup more than anything else for me. Meet my guildmates and experience a Blizzard event.
I really wish I was in esports back then. How much of an elitist I would be now if I actually played Brood War back when it was popular. Oh.
It might actually backfire and make you like less passionate because you'll have already spent the years arguing and fighting, and now you'd be worn out.
Ha! No, I'm just kidding.
Ooh.
I'm just kidding.
Alright, so
maybe.
Muta's gonna be pushed back. Don't finish that with a maybe. Just leave it. Just kidding. What's wrong with you? Alright, so Muta's gonna be pushed back for the time being. But again, with the Liberties in play, the Roaches are a lot less interesting to me than the possible Ravager counterpart that comes out of them. Melee upgrades, Carapace upgrades, air weapon upgrades. Soulkey's gonna find himself in no shortage of upgrades.
Yeah, he's all the upgrades. Alright, so I thought maybe this would stick on Mutiling Bling just because, you know, he was still getting the Ling upgrades, but transferring over into Roaches, I guess this will be a bit quicker in the Ultras, if he can, you know, if he can actually get there. But first, dealing with this big attack from KeeN.
He's going to be hit from behind, actually, on top of this. Now, Liberators are still in anti-air mode, so they're not going to eat into those Corsair Battles yet. Muta's coming from the backside with these Lings, something KeeN doesn't know about. In fact, going to turn them into Banelings. This is where those Widowmines on the backside might not be too bad. Tank trying to get what shots it can. Widowmines have not been baited into bad fights. Finally, Liberator's going to siege up. Unfortunately, they're kind of stacked, though, so these Corsair Battles have no problem raining hell from above. Tank's on that downside over here, looking for those shots. If it hits the Banelings, it's not. Ling's going to take it out pretty quick. Not good for KeeN. This is really not good for KeeN.
No, it was not. This is actually looking very good for Soulkey, who, I mean, once he pushes this back for real, and he's taking care of the medevacs now, he's going to have ample opportunity, to get an Devastation Pit, to continue on his upgrades. And
this is
that's
so
no
bad
use
for
to
KeeN. That was so much of his army. That was such a big dedication. And while he's going to try and get production down, you know, barracks on the way and third base established, Soulkey's reaching the mid game with very little contest, and he's going to be in the late game with no opposition at all.
Yeah, that's the scary part for sure. KeeN, he's got like a decent army, but he doesn't have that splash anymore as the tanks went down. He's actually building bunkers in preparation of Soulkey countering, but Soulkey doesn't have to. I mean, could he bust through the bunkers and the Marines? Maybe, and maybe he'll try, but...
Maybe he'll over-dedicate and give the game back to KeeN.
That would be the best thing for KeeN right here, but maybe he'll just see that and be like, no thank you, I'm gonna back away, I can wait for my Ultras.
Yeah, I think that's probably the smarter choice of the two for the time being. I want to thank Yohasi hitting us up with a 6-month resub during this game. Good stuff to see, man. Thank you so much.
Woo.
Changeling's gonna see this one awkward Marine go to the north. I really like the Infestors. The combination of fungal growth and Curse of Bile is so damn deadly, and it'll keep him alive until that Ultraless Cavern's ready to party.
Yeah. Just staying alive is his main goal right here. And KeeN, I mean, that was his main goal for the last 30 seconds, but you should realize, you know, that without the pressure, yeah, there you go, without the pressure, Soulkey's going to get too easily to Ultras. It's usually better to at least try and get them to do, you know, something other than making pure Ultra, but it commonly backfires. Soulkey's army is out of position, so KeeN gets to clear up some creep and maybe get that same ledge positioning, but only 2 tanks is not that scary.
No, there's quite a few Banelings coming out. Ling's on top of the Marines already. Ravager's looking for some shots. Get back away from this. Probably a smart thing to do for the time being, as still waiting on those Banelings to finish up. 19 in just a second's time, though, will make this a lot better fight here for Soulkey.
Those mutas, yeah, they could take out the medevacs, could take out the tanks. Banelings colliding into the Marines, and that's going to be enough for sure.
Yeah, the Ravager's still going strong, and while this goes on, Soulkey gets to maintain a bank. There's no panic. He's going to build some more Lings to stay alive, but I mean, this isn't him being forced to invest in a lot more Roaches and Ravagers. Ultra's Cavern starts up. He might try and bank up a little bit more, but I just realized how bad those upgrades are. 2-2 to the 1-2. Now coming up and finishing up his 2 melee for a second.
Tank goes down. Medevacs go down. Even without Ultras, Soulkey should have this defense. KeeN a little desperate, now just getting his 4th base with his main orbital. Still has decent mining with that, but of course, once Soulkey is able to push forward, that orbital won't help in the defense.
Gina Chronic and Chance saying Liberator should have stealth. Do you want everybody to hate you? Because that's how you get everybody who's not Terran to hate you. And hell, Terran probably would hate you for that too.
I know, yeah, that would be tough to deal with in TVT. Rolling in here.
Brute forcing his way off of creep. I thought this would go a lot worse for Soulkey, but that army supply still holds strong through most of this. And of course, this leads into the Ultras on deck. Chitinous plating as well, and this just looks way too good for Soulkey to lose. KeeN about to be knocked out of the tournament, mind you guys. I'm really surprised by that more than anything else.
Yeah, I really thought this guy was going to win. Soulkey did not look strong versus Patience, but well, the thing is, it's not only that Soulkey doesn't look strong versus Patience, it's in general he's been on a downward trend. And, like, in general, like, his TVT hasn't been, like, super fantastic or anything, so this is a complete surprise.
Why did Scarlet just give you 21,000 reduce?
She was like, I swear to God, if he makes Liberators before Medevacs in this game, I'm going to donate all my Partoufs to charity. And he did.
So is charity your stripper name then, or what? Like,
that would be a great stripper name. I can think of I bet if they give me like a minute, I can think of a ton of like cool innuendos for it.
It's all of Scarlet's dirty, ill-gotten gains from betting on Protoss through every single match.
Terran, so, basically not Zerg.
Yeah, so you've basically been given match fixing money.
Basically, I've been given balance whiner, race whiner money, which is just as bad.
It's so funny to me in StarCraft 2 that we can have like race whining. Like, you could never in real life be like, it's unfair, blacks run so fast. You'd be like, nope, shut it down. You could never say something like that ever. Like, I'll just don't have kite. Or sorry, excuse me. I believe they do have chitinous plating. Good hold out of KeeN initially. I was surprised to see them take so much damage, but with ghosts out, they took those hits. Snipes went off. Tanks get a couple of finishing shots, and Soulkey really over dedicating to what I think he doesn't realize he's not ready for. The ghosts definitely caught him a bit by surprise with those snipes, but the tanks also holding not too badly behind it. But without more Lings, without more cannon fodder, you can't just throw in Ultras without support on the front line. It's never going to work. And well, except for if you're Guru, but that's a whole nother can of worms. That's like a different style of stupid, but...
Okay. KeeN, yeah, just by holding, he has surpassed expectations, but now he's getting his ghost count up, or trying to. He's including Thors, which is very interesting. Apparently this has been making the rounds in a couple of different Terrans, a couple of different games, but the problem with the Thor is the same problem with, like, Liberators and Ghosts, and that, like, good luck trying to get to Thor Liberator.
Holt was for a small time trying to make this work, and I don't know if he still is, like, keen on making it happen. Oh, there's the pun, but unfortunately for KeeN, I don't think Thor's going to be what he wants. Ghost, definitely the better option. Bailey's coming in. Ultra gets on top of those Ghosts, though. Stuck in place with the Fungal. Loses those Ghosts. So valuable and so important to the follow-up. Command Center here gets gutted. It's flying. Who cares? It's going to die to the Ravagers in a second anyways. Blah, 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 blah. Fourth going down means KeeN also... Well, that was his main on top of this, but he's got no money to build more Ghosts. These incredibly expensive 200 mineral units that he needs to counter the Ultras with. So Ultras flooding through the map out of Soulkey. More Lings on the way. It's a slow death, but it is an eventual death because KeeN is sadly going to be knocked out of the TING Open Season 2.
Did not expect that at all. I'd only bet 1,000 Partoufs on it.
I mean, this is... Part of this for me is the greatness of watching Soulkey not just be a flip. Like, okay, maybe versus Protoss is really unfair because they'll have to fight versus Protoss again later, but it's good to see you can take on somebody as good as KeeN, and KeeN is good. No doubt in my mind about that.
I am glad to see Soulkey in form for at least one of these matches. Now, he has to face a Protoss, no matter what. It's a PvP in the winners, and maybe that's the matchup that's giving him trouble. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh, those Corsair hitting those medevacs. That was devastating to watch.
Or maybe it was just patience. We'll see. And we'll see who wins in the final star, the winners too, because that's coming up next.
That would be so crazy to me if Soulkey loses to patience but beats SOS. Like, what is that, right? Like,
what world? Yeah.
All right, GG. Soulkey, ladies and gentlemen, will survive to the finals. KeeN sadly will be knocked out of the tournament. And also, all Terrans now from the Korean groups removed. As a quick reminder that Super is the player who finished second place in the other Korean group. So the way this will boil down for today, these brackets haven't been updated, but let me just show you guys really quick. We're going to be casting SOS versus Patience. The loser of that will fight versus Soulkey, and then the winner of that will fight versus Super on a later date. We'll get those brackets updated. We'll go to a commercial break in a moment. Again, if you guys don't know what TING is, it's a US mobile phone service. So if you're not from America, feel free to just kind of zone out for a moment because I'm going to be talking about the benefits they have. Again, cool factors like they don't have plans. You don't get locked into like years at a time with TING. They use rates, so you pay for what you use. That's always really great. But of course, the best part about all of this is while they're cheap and maybe effective for some of you guys, they're very honest about themselves. And that's what I like about their business. BaseTV.ting.com not only will get you $25 in credit, their website is a savings calculator. You can find out whether or not TING's even for you. But of course, if we get 40 people signed up and using TING, we'll get to see a season 3. So help us make sure we get through season 2, guys. Gonna go to a break while they start vetoes. Here's a word from our sponsors. We'll see you soon.